Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are doing our budget precon upgrades and we're looking at mono and colorless lands. This is something I've covered before in videos, but this is going to be a new one. I think this is maybe lands that are better suited for upgrades in particular. So when I say budget, I mean $2 or less. I'm using the TCG market value, not a sponsor. Nope. Precon upgrades. So the major issue with most precons is the land base. The first thing you need to look at when you're upgrading either a precon or your own deck is the land base. This is always where you should start. If you want to upgrade, land first, right? Make sure you're getting your mana and everything like that. That's what makes everything else in the deck work. So this is the most important first step in any deck, followed by ramp and card draw. Ramp and card draw, usually if you have problems, it's one of those two things. Of course, ramp doesn't matter if you don't have the land to begin with. If you're not getting your land drops, you're not ramping. That's what I keep saying anyway. Yeah, I even wrote it there, yeah. Number 5, Hall of Oracles. Okay, so this is you can tap it to add 1 colorless, or use 1 mana to add 1 mana of any color, which, especially, it's basically costing you 2 mana to make 1 mana. It is any color, but that's not why you want this. You can tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. Even getting 1 +1/+1 counter on a creature can be very worthwhile. Any kind of proliferate deck especially, getting that first counter down is the problem, right? As soon as you have that first one down, all of your proliferates, you can just target it and make it huge. So yeah, this lets you get that first one down for 26 cents. Number 4. Volatile Fault. Okay, once again, taps for a colorless. And you can pay 1, destroy Volatile Fault. Destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search the library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle. You create a treasure token. Okay, there's a lot of similar cards to this. Being able to create a treasure token can be so useful in many decks. I actually need to order a couple more of these. Now that I'm thinking about it, my Chatterfang and my Saheeli decks need it. But yeah. Being able to... Land destruction isn't popular, but this is a non-basic land. So if someone has like Cabal Coffers or something like that, where it's a land where they get really out of control, this lets you deal with that. I think it's kind of like the acceptable form of land destruction. Anyway, 11 cents. Number 3. Emergence Zone. Okay, so again, taps for a colorless, or you can pay 1, sacrifice it. You may cast spells as though they had flash. So all your spells basically gain flash that turn. This is like such a huge thing to do, especially if you've got like a nice setup. You can kind of wait until the turn right before your turn and then just suddenly basically take your whole turn, right? On someone else's end step, you're just gonna use this, give everything flash, and then take your whole turn. So if there's board wipes, if there's whatever, you can just avoid all of that. They can't interact with what's not on the board, right? So this is a very sneaky play. 186. Number 2. Ash Barrens. Okay, I think this is underrated for sure. Okay, so taps for a colorless, sure. But basic land cycling 1. So you pay 1 mana, you discard this, and you get any basic land you want. Any deck where you need to worry about mana fixing, your 3-color, 4-color, 5-color decks, especially 5-color. I think I don't have this in my my WUBRG deck. I gotta put it in there. But yeah, anyway, 6 cents and mana fixing just done, right? Amazing. Number 1. Archway of Innovation. So it enters the battlefield tapped. Okay. Only taps for blue, which sounds not great, but you can pay 1 blue. The next spell you cast this turn has Improvise. So yeah, you can tap your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you've done activating mana abilities pays for 1. Basically, if you've got a really high cost spell, you can just tap a bunch of artifacts. A lot of artifacts don't matter if they're tapped, right? Mana rocks do matter, but there's lots of things like you might even want, even Blink Moth Urn, you want to tap when it's not your turn. So it's something you can really get a lot of value out of. And yeah, a lot of artifacts just, it doesn't matter if they're tapped or not, they just give the kind of static ability. So tapping those for mana, when you don't care if they're tapped or not, is incredible. Anyway, 76 cents only. The List. Okay, Hall of Oracles, 26 cents. Volatile Fault, only 11 cents. Emergence Zone, 186. Ash Barrens, 6 cents. And Archway of Innovation is 76 cents. Two I want to point out. Okay, Ash Barrens, if you've got even like a 3-color deck, throw that in there. When it is useful, it's going to save you. And Volatile Fault, just put that in like almost everything just to deal with problem lands. It's something that people often are not prepared for and they need to be. Anyway, take it easy.